Gopal Swami Jivan Darshan Part 1. A glimpse of the life vision of Sadguru Shri Gopalananda Swami. Prominent land. Sarvavtari Purna Purushottam Bhagwan Shri Swaminarayana Mahaprabhu is like a bright star shining in the Sohmani Santamala of Samarth. Aksharmurti Yogiraj Shri Gopalananda Swami was born in Todla village of Bhiloda Taluk of Sabarkantha district on Monday, Mahasud 8 of Samvat 1837. Todla is a quaint village surrounded by the Aravali mountain range. Shri Nishkulananda Swami has narrated this famous event of Yogiraj in chapter 14 of Bhaktachintamani. In matchless Idar country, blessed Todla village. Blessed is the race of Dvija, where Upanya Bhakta Ekam. A yogi of previous births, dearest to loved ones. Prabhu Sangat appeared, the name of the true devotee is Kushal. Mother and father. His father's name was Motiram Sharma and mother's name was Kusladevi, Giba. Father Motiram Sharma was a devout, Audicha Sahsara Brahman. Mata Kusladevi was husbandly, devout, Sati Sadhvi Sannari. He was the founder of Chhatta Priyathakar, Madhyandini branch, Yajurveda and Pach-M. The father calculated the nakshatra, yoga, rashi and planets of the time of birth according to astrology and named his grandson Kushal as the birth of his son was happy. Shamlaji's friend. Many miracles of child happiness are known in Todla and surrounding masses. One of the leaflets is made something like this. Once an incident happened on the night of Sharad Poonam. Mother Kushlaba, who had gone to bend the naveli behind the house, found gold bangles, coils and silver gadi in her hand. He asked Kushal, so he revealed that it belonged to my friend Shamalia. It seems to be forgotten. On the other hand, there were reports of theft of jewellery from the famous temple of Shamlaji. An allegation was made on the priest. Then a Gabi voice came from the temple, "It is not the priest's fault, I forgot that I went to play with Kushal there." Hearing this, the priest and steward left for Todla. There was another voice, "The priest opened the closet earlier today, so my upper body is also stuck to the tree branch on the road as the Todla is coming quickly. A chakri has also fallen somewhere on the banks of Mishwo river. All this has happened because of the hest of the priest." The priest and steward came to Todla. On the way, the upper body was found clinging to the branch of a tree. A chakri was also found from Mishwo Tira and rest of the ornaments were found from Kushal's house. People were very surprised to learn about this. This event is recorded in the old records of Shamlaji's temple. Study. In the 8th year, the father sent Kushal to the Bhoi village to study after giving Yajnopvit with enthusiasm. Sharp-minded, brilliant and talented Kushal Bhai studied grammar, justice, astrology, Vedic scriptures deeply within a short time and mastered them and attained the Guru's pleasure. Shri Haridarshan. During this period, Kashiram and Murlidhar of Vadsinore came to the occasion of Satsangi by Kushal Bhai. Ever since he heard the words of Lord Shri Swaminarayan revealed from him, he felt the urge to do Prabhudarshan. There was a meeting of Shri Sarveswarnanji, the Parmahesa of Shriji Maharaj in Dabhoi. Kushal's mind was attracted by hearing the words of the supreme opulence and glory of the manifested God. As the love of the East was revealed, joy arose in the distance and came together with the saints for the darshan of Hari. As soon as Shri Hari was seen in Dabhan, all the tendencies of distance were strained in the Lord and the mind rested in the form of the Lord. By the grace of Shriji, Kushal Bhatt got the inspiration of Yoga Vidya and the practice of Ashtanga Yoga became natural. Even in the school, many students were taught yoga and made samadhi. A longing for distance. Despite achieving Sankalp Siddhi and attaining great wealth, Kushal Bhai's mind remained engrossed in the manifest God. He stayed in the house as a guest by his order. In spite of his own will, he also did Grihasthashram, subject to the strong insistence of his parents, but Srihari's separation seemed unbearable to him. He longed for his distance to meet God. Homelessness. Antaryami also knew the embarrassment of his distance and came to him in the form of a Brahman. The Brahman who came to the request talked about going to Kathiawar himself. Kushal Bhai, knowing that he had got such a good fortune, left the house and walked with the Brahman and came to Jetlapur to see the manifested Sri Hari. The Lord was very pleased to know that he had brought himself here in the form of a Brahman and surrendered himself to the service of Sriji. Bhagwati Diksha. Seeing the widespread propagation of Lord Sri Swaminarayan Mahaprabhu's Sanatan Bhagavata Dharma everywhere, Kushal Bhatt also requested himself to be initiated into Paramahansi. Srihari No. On the auspicious day of Kartak Vad 8 in the morning of 1864, Gadpur Makam gave Bhagwati Diksha to Kushal Bhatt and gave him the meaningful name Gopalananda, protector of all. Then, due to his sadhana, devotion to God and many other good qualities, his importance continued to increase. Finally he started to be counted in the ranks of the main Sadguru. After Gopalananda Swami became Paramahansa, Sriji stayed for a long time in Vadodara, the capital of Gaikwad, to avoid the attacks on the sect. Swami showed many pamphlets and miracles to Sayajirao Sarkar, his officials and other scholars to make Maharaj determined. The sufferings of many poor people were relieved. Many of them had attained the state of Samadhi without any means. Mediators of both thrones. Sriji Maharaj established 2 thrones Ahmedabad and Vadtal to protect the religion of all his dependents. Acharya Shri Ayodhya Prasadji and Acharya Shri Raghuvirji Maharaj entrusted the responsibility of it. He appointed Brahmananda Swami in Ahmedabad and Nityananda Swami in Vadtal to assist him. Sriji Maharaj chose Sadguru Gopalananda Swami, who had the ability to carry the responsibility of the entire sect as a mediator between these 2 seats of Vadtal and Ahmedabad, and entrusted him with the responsibility of the entire satsang. On the eve of going to Swadham, Srihari recommended the Acharyas, Sadguru, saints and Parshads to follow the instructions of Sadguru Gopalananda Swami. Referring to which Sadguru Nishkulananda Swami says in Bhakchintamani chapter 160 that Sadhu Varni Pala Suni Lejo Re, stay under the command of Gopal Swami. Although Muktananda Swami was the eldest, he understood the greatness of Gopalananda Swami. When Gopalananda Swami came to visit Muktananda Swami, Muktamuni would sit him insistently on his seat. When Sriji Maharaj handed over the Mahaniti of Junagadh to Guntitananda Swami, he prayed to Sriji Maharaj that if this Gopalananda Swami comes to Junagadh to narrate the story to me for a month, I will happily stay in Junagadh. Sriji Maharaj asked Yogiraj, so he readily accepted Sriji's order. Not only that, he kept his body as long as he lived. Guntitanand pleased Swami by telling the story. Sadguru Gopalananda Swami, who was entrusted with the responsibility of Ishtadev Srihari as his representative, managed the Sampradaya in an immaculate manner throughout his life. For about 22 years after Sriji Maharaj passed away, Swami gave great nourishment to the entire satsang. God, temple, shastra, Acharya, Sadhu and these 6 limbs of Satsangi Sampradaya prevailed according to Shriji's orders. Dharma, Niyama, Katha, story, melodies, bhajans, etc. The organized system of satsang is mostly attributed to Gopalananda Swami. Abandon the body. In Samvat 1906, he was saddened by this world and prepared to approach Srihari, but Acharya Sri Raghuvirji Maharaj prayed to God so that Srihari kept Swami for 2 more years. Later, when Srihari's hatred began to haunt him, on Vaishakh Vada Pancham of Samvat 1908, he put the entire satsang to sleep and expressed great admiration for the performance of the great Yogiraj. The power shown in Purvashram. Kushal Bhai started performing divine miracles from the 3rd month after birth. It is proved from the article of Ishwar Dattaram Rajeshwar. These miracles were as follows. A miracle in a horse. One day Mother Kusla Devi went to fetch water in the morning. At that time, putting the mare in the courtyard and putting Kushal on it, Soni sat Kuber by her and went to draw water. At that time, the snake climbed on the horizontal wood, Chotila, on top of the mare and threw it on Kushal's face and made a shadow. Seeing this, Kuber ran away. Kusladevi came back and shouted. At that time men gathered from the plank, but by that time the snake had disappeared and saw Kushal laughing in the horse, rubbing his right toe. When this was told to Motiram Thakar, Motiram said that Kushal should not be bitten by a snake. The appearance of the free. Once there was heavy rain for 10 days from the 8th day of Bhadrava. The sun was not seen during that time. In those days, the bheels poured manure in Motiram's house at night and entered the house by opening the back window. At that time there was a great noise in the house, so everyone in the house woke up. Hearing that noise, Sako Soni and 2 or 3 other men came to the house before the neighbors came. Kushal's mouth shone like the sun. Seeing this miracle, the bheels who came to steal ran away. Even the men who came were surprised. Motiram said that the dream that Mother Gayatri had suggested in Achleshwar Mahadev has come true with this miracle. This is the birth of an ascetic. Muktakanthe Stuti. On Mahasudpi, Kushal's mare was kept in the rising direction. From this, a cow was tied 6 cubits, 10 feet away. Bal Kushal stretched out his hand from the horse and turned it onto the cow. At that time there was a sound like the aura breaking and Suryanarayan's chariot descended. The people of the village came to know that there would be a great flood and left their homes and started praising such a Lord in the temple of Sri Radhakrishna, present-day Swaminarayan temple. The Jagirdar Pahad Singh Ji of the village was present there. People praised with voices free from excessive heat and fever. Villagers gathered in the temple saw Kapila Ka riding in Suryanarayan's chariot. In a few minutes, as the chariot ascended higher, the heat subsided. At that time, Kushal was laughing and playing with horses in the courtyard. Kushal got out of his horse and went to the temple with his friends and all came home with Kusladevi. Festival of Prabhu Pragatya. On the 9th day of Chaitra Sud there was a Ramnavami festival in Radhakrishna's temple and it was a day of fasting. The next day, on the morning of Dasham, all the fasting men went to Sri Achleshwar Mahadev pilgrimage. That time Kushal gathered the boys. He came inside the house and said, "This big room is full. Let us unravel it. Let's take out the one big round matla, bhacharo, inside it. It feels real now. All of them said to Kuber Soni that Alya Cuba, shall we remove the round from this? Then Kuber Soni said that this koti is 4 or 5 hands high of a big man. Even a big man can't beat the floor. Then Khushal said, do you go out and see if my father is coming? Then Khushal stretched out his hand and took out a ball full of jaggery from the closet, which Kuber saw. Alya Khushal, you stretched out your long arm like a ghost, said Kuber. So Khushal put his hand on Kuber's shoulder, and Kuber forgot all the thought. There was a round mound of martla. He tied it in a round bag and carried it to the temple along with all the boys. The empty floor was placed in the koti and the koti was closed. Gold prasad was distributed to the boys in the temple. Then he made the tune that Hari Prasad Gher Anand Beho, Jai Ghanashyam Maharaj Ki. So all the boys danced to Kudvi and said that the call you gave us is the birth of Ghanashyam Maharaj. He said Jai Jai in the temple. The entire temple was flooded. At that time, all the people from Achleshwar Mahadev came to the temple for darshan. Immediately Kusla Devi was eaten chadi by Kuber Soni and said that Kushal Devi, Khushal has opened a big koti and divided all the boys of this village. We have had fun playing games. That's why they lie like this to beat me up. How can we remove the round from such a big box? Mother believed this to be true. Kushala Devi left Khushal because she believed that the boys were lying in Kazia, and when she came home, she found the jaggery floor full and said, it is not good for you to play together and do Kazia all the time. Khushal said, if Ba, Kubo is committing a sin by lying, I will not play that lie, but mother, this is Vasudeva Prabhu born last night, said Khushal. Hearing that, Kusla Devi said that Alya Ganda, that's how Rama was born, it was Ram Navami. Then Khushal said that very night Ghanashyam Prabhu was born in Chappaya. Kushal Devi said that Alya Bhai, in Ayodhya, it will be fine. Then Khushal said that Ghanashyam Prabhu was born in Chappaya near Ayodhya. Yajanopvit. Seeing the divine powers and intelligence of Kushal Bhai, the father made a good decision to calculate the month of pregnancy according to the rules of the scriptures and perform the Yagyopvita rites as the 5th year. On the 11th day of Baishakh, Bholanath Shukla of village Mudeti started the ceremony of offering a ritual of Shodas Sanskar Manhe. While holding the Yajanopvit, Shukla resolved that Mantranushtan Siddhyarthe Yajanopavitham Dharyami. Thus when Shukla said, Khushal Bhai said, Ghanashyam Prabhu Prityarthe Yajnopavitam Dharayami, make the resolution like this. Father Motiram and Dattaram Thakar, uncle, were present at the time of this sankalp. Hence, Shukla Khushal Bhai criticized the said resolution. Khushal Bhai immediately attacked Shukla and Shukla fainted. Hundreds of people were present in Yajanopvit Mandapam. At that time there was a roar in the Yagya Mandapam. People were surprised that Shukla had died while giving Upvit rites. Make noise, said Khushal Bhai. Shuklaji did not do midday evening, so he did pranayam. After 2 minutes, Shukla became alarmed and said, oh, I did Vedic karma all my life but got the immense joy of 2 moments of experience in Khushal Bhai's fleeting association. He gave me direct darshan of Mahadevji in Kailas. In Kailas, Mahadevji directly commanded that what do you preach in the rites associated with that Sakshat Golok Vihari Vibhuti? Put this Bilvapatra on my head, on Khushal Bhai's head as my blessing, and perform the Upvit Sanskar, you will be credited. When Shukla was saluting with 2 hands as per Shivji's order, Kushalbhai held his hands and asked him not to salutation and said, "You are my Guru of Upvit Sanskar. This way you will not fall." At that time Shuklaji's Kushalbhai was holding hands. From the mouth of Shuklaji when "Hey Pranav Prabhu" was said, Kushalbhai said that it had appeared on the 9th day of Chaitra Sudhi at Chappaya village near Ayodhya, not me. He, Shukla, did not allow him, Shukla, to touch his feet during the Gayatri preaching in Upvit Sanskar and said that I am preaching to you from a practical point of view but I am not authorized to preach to you. After that Kushalbhai invoked Mahamaya. So in the mandap hundreds of men experienced divine wonder and miracles and lost consciousness. Only Shukla and Motiram had a dim divine consciousness. Completed the sacrificial rites. Shuklaji kept for 6 days until the practical work was completed. Kushalbhai also stopped God's miracles. He, Shukla, did not allow him, Shukla, to touch his feet during the Gayatri preaching in Upvit Sanskar and said, I am preaching to you from a practical point of view, but I am not authorized to preach to you. Kushalbhai then invoked Mahamaya, so hundreds of people in the mandap were filled with divine wonder and a miracle happened and they lost consciousness. Only Shukla and Motiram had a dim divine consciousness. Completed the sacrificial rites. Shuklaji kept for 6 days until the practical work was completed. Kushalbhai also stopped God's miracles. He, Shukla, did not allow him, Shukla, to touch his feet during the Gayatri preaching in Upvit Sanskar and said, I am preaching to you from a practical point of view but I am not authorized to preach to you. Kushalbhai then invoked Mahamaya, so hundreds of people in the mandap were filled with divine wonder and a miracle happened and they lost consciousness. Only Shukla and Motiram had a dim divine consciousness. Completed the sacrificial rites. Shuklaji kept for 6 days until the practical work was completed. Kushalbhai also stopped God's miracles. Study. Then on the 7th day, Kushalbhai was sent to Mudeti with Shuklaji to study. There Madhukari Maghi studied Veda Vedanta, grammar, jurisprudence, Mimasa, logic etc. till Mahasud 4 of Samvat 1849. Thus Kushalbhai did 12 years of study in Mudeti village, then asked Guru to go home. On Mahasud Panchman, Vasant Panchami, of Samvat 1849, he came to his native village Torda in the afternoon. After saluting the parents and elders, taking bath, and having dinner, they went to the temple of Sri Radhakrishna for the night in spring festival. On the 7th of Fagan Vad of Samvat 1849, he went to Kashi, Banaras, to take the test of his knowledge by taking the order of his father. A letter written by Faganvad 11 of Samvat 1849 about reaching Kashi happily came to Thakar Motiram, that is, he reached Kashi in 4 days. The letter came on the 14th of Baishakhvada, Torde Samvat 1849. It took 2 months and 3 days for the letter to reach Torde. Dattaram Bhai, uncle, and Gwiba, mother, were present when Motiram was reading the letter. Duttram Thakur questioned that Bhai Kashi would take 2 to 2.5 months even for the least strong man to walk. So this child's letter is surprising. Motiram said, you stay calm. Why was it surprising that the powerful man turned the entire universe in an instant? Dattaram, I swear to you that you will not talk about this letter anywhere. Kushalbhai took the exam in Kashi and was awarded the title of Veda Vedanta Parangat and Vyakaran Kesri. Thus in practical terms, he completed a period of about 20 months on Manikarnika Ghat in Kashi Kshetra. Then he went on a pilgrimage to complete his studies. Pilgrimage. Khushal Bhai left for Jagdish, Jagannath Puri, on the day of Kartika Vadra of Samvat 18P1. From there Panna Nrisinghaji, Sakshi Gopal, Pishtitirtha, Shivkachi, Vishnukachi, Rameshwar, Tirupati Balaji, Hardwar etc. went around and sanctified the pilgrimage site with his feet. There he had his first darshan of Sri Nilkant Brahmachari, and Ananyabhvi Khushal Bhai bowed down at the feet of Sri Nilkant Brahmachari and prostrated himself. Nilkant Brahmachari took his hand and lifted it up and clapped it with his heart. Khushal Bhai praised him a lot. At that time Brahmachari said that, "We have to go to Gupta now. Still I have to take Guru Diksha from Ramanand Swami at Lodge, Mangarol, village. Now that you are wandering, go back to Torde and meet your parents. I will go to Lodge village in Samvat 18P6 and take initiation in Samvat 18P7. Ramananda Swami will go to Swadham in Samvat 18P8. Khushal Bhai said to Gadgadkant that by what crime is divorce? Nilkant Brahmachari said, "There is no crime. I will come to Tedwa immediately after initiation." When asked Khushal Bhai. Then Brahmachari said, "On Kartik Sud 11 of Samvat 18P9, I will come to visit you at Atliswar Mahadev Torda village." Then Khushal Bhai said, "Not in Kuti, my house." Brahmachari replied, "No, Khushal Bhai, tell your mother and your father Motiram Bhai and your Kadattaram about wandering in all these shrines. Do not keep them ignorant of our words. Those are the muktas who dwell in Akshara. This is my command to you." Thus Khushal Bhatt's first meeting with Sri Nilkant Brahmachari took place in Sri Badrinarayan. He then proceeded to Torda, Mausoleum of Gauri Shankar. On the day of Magshar Shudra of Samvat 1856, Khushal Bhai Torda returned after about 7 years of study and pilgrimage to Kashi. He met all the elders and told the parents. He prostrated himself. He rested for a few days. At that time, father was running Motiram school. There were 60 students in it. Some of them studied grammar, astrology and rituals. Torda boys were also studying in it. In it, they also imparted names, writing and accounting knowledge to the boys. Khushal Bhai took over all that work from his father. After spending some time there, Khushal Bhai prepared the students from Motiram in 2 to 3 months. Raval Gaurishankar of Torda buried Vishnudatta in the window of his house and sent him to Kshirsagar. When it was time to eat, Gaurishankar was called from the window, but he did not speak. On seeing Samandhistha Gaurishankar Raval, his relatives and his parents started saying with surprise that our Gaur has fallen ill and is speechless like Madda. The people of the village rushed to see this surprise. Saw Raval Gaurishankar high and low, then their pulse will not get prana. Those people came happily and said, "Look, what has happened to Gaura?" Then his father said, "Something must have bitten through the window. Let us call the serpent remover." So Khushal Bhai said, "Leave the mess and let me see." Saying that, Khushal Bhai said, "Alya Gaura, why is he asleep?" Khushal Bhai took her hand and made her sit. Then Gaurishankar started crying and said, "O Guru, why did you call me here? My everything is gone. I used to have darshan of Lord Seshashayi in the Milky Way. It's my everything." He began to repent a lot. Seeing this sight, all the people of the village gathered there were surprised. Then Gaurishankar said, "Take this my Anchala, handkerchief, soaked in the ocean of milk, and soak it in a vessel and give prasad to all who have come here. About 1.5 pasher as much water came out. A cup of that water was given to every man who came. For several days those who took the prasad and Gauri Shankar were disgusted with the water of Torda, and the men who took the prasad became innocent. After that Kushal Bhatt performed many miracles for the benefit and happiness of people. Kuber Soni's Moksha. Kushal Bhatt and Kuber Sakha Soni's house is adjoining in Torda. The Neveli wall of Bhatt's house is the wall of Kuber Sakha Soni's house. Those houses still exist. The third generation of Kuber Soni is now Krishnalal Leelachand Soni. According to him, when Kushal Bhatt was teaching rural Nisha, he went to the forest to pick chaff with the boys. While playing, Kuber Soni threw a pebble and hit Kushal Bhai on the head. So he cursed Kuber saying, "Kuber, your death will be at the hands of Asura." Then Kuber was very angry, so Kushal Bhai said that the curse will not be false anymore, but I will come to punish you in the end. Kuber also dealt in gold cloth. Once he used to buy cloth from Shamalji and used to come home to Torda. They met robbers on the road where the dividing line comes. Kuber Soni recognized him and said, "Are you robbing by identity?" So the robbers shot an arrow in his leg. So Kuber died there. Then Kushal Bhatt appeared and visited him in Akshardham. When Bhatt went to visit Kuber Soni, Pahadji Darbar of Pahada village saw Kushal Bhai and said, "Our friend Kuber Soni has passed away, we are going to visit him." There is now a huge pile of stones where Kuber Soni died. The place is situated 4 miles, about 6 kilometers, on the road from Torda to Shamlaji, between two hills and thick forest cover. There is a belief among the people that if a stone is placed in that heap and chanting the Jai Boli of Gopalananda Swami, intermittent fever does not occur, and if it occurs, it subsides. This belief is still prevalent. Ganpati Puja. Ganpati was the clan god of Kushal Bhatt. So he was worshipped regularly. Once Kushal Bhatt told Mother Kusladevi that today is Bhadrava Sud 4. So I will worship Ganpati Maharaj. Make 10 laddus of 10 shares of Navidya Saru share of ghee, but Kusladevi did not make laddus accordingly due to frugality and finished the plate by making only 5 laddus of 1 share. That plate Kushal Bhatt went to the Dehra of Bhuleshwar Mahadev on the banks of the river and placed it. Ganpati placed 2 of these ladles near Shivaji with his nose. Shankar swallowed it in one go. Then Ganpati put 2 more ladles in front of Parvati with his nose. He was swallowed by Parvati. Then he took a ladle in his nose and threw it into Nandishwar's mouth. He went to Nandishwar Gatak. Then Ganpati clapped with his upper 2 hands and held his lower 2 hands and wanted to eat for himself. Kushal Bhatt said, "I am bringing," and brought himself back home. He said to Kusladevi that grass is growing for our cow, so you and Ugri Behan and Kanku Behan come and cut the green grass in the Vagda. So the 3 went to the Vagda to get grass. Meanwhile, Kushal Bhatt had 10 to 12 shares of wheat flour in his house and called his 2 friends, Ramshankar and Dhanabhat, took ghee and jaggery from the house and took their help to make laddu. After that he went in front of Ganpati and took the plate. Ganpati smiled and took the ladle in the mouth and ate it instantly. Only 5 ladles of prasadi were allowed. Kushal Bhatt then made Ganpati drink water and came home with prasad. Then when mother and sisters returned home with loads of grass, Kushal Bhai narrated all that had happened. They were surprised to hear that. Then the mother advised Kushal that you pamper Ganpati so much, our poor house cannot afford it. Even if we have a round gravel offering to Ganpati and kharek to Shankar, that is enough. When we eat barley bread and chili bhaji, then the body is dedicated to God, instructed the mother. Kushal Bhatt's poverty is realized from this event. A wonder appeared in the mountains of Ida. When Kushal Bhatt was 10 years old, there was a terrible drought in this country during the year of Suttala. In Ida and its surrounding villages, many people left their homes and went to the mountains of Ida with their families, eating whatever leaves, fruits, flowers or roots they could find and went out hungry. All the people of Todla village went there. Thakar Motiram also stayed with his family for 10 months. There, Kushal Bhatt used to play with his 10-12 children and used to roam around in the hills and find big tubers from the crevices and caves of the hills and give them to people to eat. Pomegranate-like seeds emerged from it. It tasted like an exquisite nectar that was more satisfying to eat than to cook. So everyone started walking in that hill with Kushal Bhatt. It made all the people look happy that there are tubers in some places. Then people started digging those tubers from that place. Then thousands of big tubers of Adhmana and Manmana started coming out. Thousands of people lived in that hill for 10 months in the year of Kal by eating the seeds of that tuber like nectar. One day, Kushal Bhatt, along with his 10 and 12 children, went to a dark cave at the top of the hill where Ruthi Rani's palace is located and took them out of the water of the Sarayu river. He bathed in the Tirtha and had the darshan of Hanumanji, went to the Ram temple and had the darshan of Rama, Lakshmana and Sita there. There, in the assembly of thousands of people sitting to listen to the Tulsikrit Ramayana, he saw 12 other children like him listening to the story. After the story was over, he was amazed to see a wonderful 10-year-old child in the assembly and looked at him often. Kushal Bhatt, after speaking to him many times in the divine language, along with the children with him, got absorbed in the radiance at the feet of that wonderful child and immediately came out of the cave of the mountain of Idar. There, the parents of all those children asked, "Alya boys, in which cave have you all been filled for a long time? We have tired you by exploring all the caves many times." The boys said that this Kushal Bhatt went to Ayodhyapuri and bathed in Saryundi and had darshan of Ram, Lakshmana and Sita. A wonderful child was seen there. He was definitely Lord Balkrishna. This Kushal Bhatt used to sit and talk with him for 2 hours as if they were two friends. Then we all bowed our heads at the feet of Balkrishna, and at once Mahatej's embers came out from those feet. Everyone was very surprised to hear the boy's words like this. In this way, after 10 months in the mountains of Idar, Kushal Bhatta narrated immense wonders with many characters. After coming home, he started practicing yoga and sankhya, following the religion of Grihasthashram. Vagmoksha. Once upon a time, a big tiger came out from the mountain of Idar and started roaring near the temple of Bhuleshwar Mahadev on the river bank of Torda village. People ran into the house in fear, but a 10-year-old boy was attacked by a tiger and killed. The tiger also killed 2 cows. The boy's father died and went in front of the tiger to take the boy's support. Kushal Bhatt refused to go there. He himself stood facing the tiger and slapped him hard on the face. As a result, the tiger fell down on the ground. After a few minutes, when he fainted, Kushal looked at Bhatt made 5 rounds of him, bowed his head to the earth, and walked away. At that time, Kushal Bhatt held his ear and said, "You have committed 1 Brahmatya and 2 cow slaughters. I absolve you from that sin. Now you shall not do violence to any man or animal, and shall not eat meat." Dahad lives in the bush and subsists on whatever fruits are available. On the day when he is not found, he comes to the people in the village and shows his belly. So people will give you cooked grains. Eat it and you will go to the forest. In this way you will die after enjoying 3 years of life. Then your horse avatar will come. You will have darshan of the manifested God every day. Saying this, Kushal Bhatt left him. As commanded, the tiger spent 3 years eating fruits and grains. Bhuleshwar Dehra came forward and bowed down. Kushal Bhatt brought the boy and 2 cows back to life by reciting a mantra and took the boy to Nisha himself by snapping his fingers. A miracle of this kind was performed in Torda while he was running the Nisha. Serpent Rescue. A large snake lived in a cask in front of Bhuleshwar Mahadev of Torda for some years. He bit the foot of a Brahman. As the poison permeated the Brahman's body, he turned green and began to have ripples. That Brahman was brought to Ghali Kushal Bhatt in Joli. As soon as Kushal Bhai turned his garment to the end, the Brahman began to shout, "Burn!" The Brahman fell at Kushal Bhai's feet. Bhatt asked, "Who are you?" He replied, "I am a great poisonous snake, and I bit the Brahman because he stepped on me." Kushal Bhai made Naga remember his previous birth. Nag said that I was the son of Vania in my previous birth, but I was born from Muslim's sperm when he committed adultery with a Muslim. So I used to do business but pick fights with passers-by for no reason, kill someone, steal from someone, cheat, betray, live by resorting to violence. I collected so much money and buried it in the ground. Then I got very slow and suffered a lot. At the end, Yamraj came and tied me up and dragged me to Jampuri. Suffered in Jampuri for many years. Then Dharmaraja gave birth to this black snake. Even in this birth, I have bitten many people and died. All these previous birth memories have come to me by your sprinkling of water and by your sight. Have mercy on me, save me. Then Kushal Bhatt said, "Get out of this Brahman's body and don't bite anyone. I will not create fear. I will not eat any living thing. We have sprinkled you with water, so you should visit us at night in a way that no one can see, and live in the hollow of a cask and eat and drink the pure food water that the Brahmans of this village pour, and do penance for 1 year, so that your sins will be burnt and your snake body will be burnt. Will fall you will get Bhatt's body. In that avatar you will have visions of God manifest. Surrender to them and you will be saved." After performing the 5 pradakshina of Nag Kushal Bhatt, he got out of the body of the Brahman. Then the Brahman got up as if he had woken up from a deep sleep and saluted Kushal Bhatt. Then Kushal Bhai ordered that you should take our and all the Brahmans uchchish water and pour it into the root of the cask every day for 1 year. Salvation of a suicidal woman. Once in Torda, a Brahman woman committed suicide by falling into a well because she could not bear the grief. Yamdutus came to punish him. Kushal Bhatt then asked them to leave and threw the darbha rod at them. So they ran away screaming. There was such a snap of the darbha door that the Gheghur elder on the side of the village broke down with a clattering sound. Hence the people of the village felt that the umbrella to sit on the cattle and people of the village is gone, now they have to sit in the sun. Knowing this, Kushal Bhatt asked the people to throw banyan trunks, branches, etc. away from there. People did accordingly. Kushal Bhatt planted a branch of banyan tree in the place where there was a banyan tree and infused the life of a Brahman woman who had committed suicide into that branch. Bhatt once poured water on the branch, and by divine power the banyan tree grew as before in just 3 nights. As a result, animals and humans got the same happiness of shade as before. Thus, within a few years after the birth of the tree, the suicidal Brahman woman gave birth in satsang and worshipped God and attained salvation. Currently, this ward is located on the banks of the river near the Dehra of Bhuleshwar Mahadev. Student rescue from fire. It was a time when Kushal Bhatt was running a rustic nisha. A Brahman's house in Torda village was filled with grass. It suddenly ignited. So the adjoining Brahman house was also burnt. All the people in the house got out, but a 15-year-old boy was engulfed in flames. So he could not get out and started shouting. After a few minutes, he stopped shouting, and his parents realized that the boy had been burnt in the fire. Realizing this, his father started crying. Hearing her cry, the boy came running from Nisha to the house and said, "I could not find a way out of the burning house, so I cried out in panic." Kushal Bhai heard this cry in Nisha, and from Nisha extended his hand in the sky with divine power and lifted me from the burning house and dropped me in Nisha. I am not burnt at all. Thus Kushal Bhatt showed miracle. Vishnu worship. Once a Brahman from Toda came to Kushal Bhatt and expressed his desire to offer Tulsi to Lord Vishnu with Vishnu's sarnam for 4 months in Chaturmas, but expressed the problem of not being able to get 1,000 tulsidals from the village every day. Ashadha Sud is 8th and Ekadashi will come after 2 days. Tulsi has to be offered in the morning, but it cannot be found. Then Bhatt said, "If you want to worship with faith, then let's plant last year's Tulsi plants in my house in the space near your house." Accordingly, Bhatt went to the Brahman's house with a bunch of Tulsi plants. There, the soil was dug up 4 to 5 inches, sprinkled with water. Bhatt crushed basil leaves and planted its seeds in it. Bhatta then invoked Tulsimta. Then that very night the basil sprouted and grew as tall as a man. It became like Vrindavan there. Seeing that, the people were overjoyed. That Brahman decided to offer Tulsi till Chaturmas with Sahasranam. At that time there were 4 or 5 Muslim houses in the village. They objected that by planting Tulsi you have blocked our way to the river and Bhagole. So there was no way to go now. The Brahmans said, "We will go through the road behind Bhuleshwar Mahadev's Dehra. You also judge by that way." Then the Muslims said that we will not go that way. "Why did you plant so many trees in one night?" The Brahmans replied that Kushal Bhatt has planted Tulsimta plants to worship Thakurji. Then the angry Muslims said, "Hang your Tulsi Mata from here, otherwise we will hang you." The Brahmans went and told Kushal Bhatt. Bhatt asked them to worship God. On the other side the Muslims gathered in their fold. Sampkari came at night with dango and sticks. In anger, they started to pluck the basil plants. He felled a big tree and hanged himself and went home. What did he see there? All the boys, who were sleeping in the house, were lying outside on the planks, defiled and screaming. Some were seen with broken limbs, some with split heads, some with bruises hanged, some with bloodied and mutilated bodies, Maddans. Seeing this, they all got up and said, "What has happened?" They went to their boys outside and started to raid. Then they said, "You sinners broke our bones by running over us without rods and sticks. Now you do the petals? Are you our friend or enemy? You beat us in the dark night." The men said that, "Why did you kill my sister?" Another says, "Why did you kill my daughter-in-law?" The third said, "Why did you kill my boy?" They were angry with each other, fighting each other, so that their bones were broken and they fell down dead. It happened to the Muslims that they hanged Tulsimta, and all the beatings that they had done were inflicted on the men of her family. He himself was beaten to death by hand-to-hand blows, but Tulsimta remained cheerful as ever. Thus dust falls in the eyes of the one who throws dust in front of the sun. The one who offends the great free one himself suffers the pain. Mahodo sweetened. A Mahodo received by Motiram Bhatt from Torda Jagirdar for Yusufrat. It was like a bitter poison. Therefore cattle could not eat their cattle. Khushal Bhatt made him like sweet sugar. On Chaitra Sud 1st of Samvat 18p6, Mataji, Jiviba, said that Bhai Khushal, you are teaching students, take those students along with you to the Mahudi, Torda, don't let cattle eat the Mahudas and weave as many Mahudas as you can. Then I come. Everyone is fasting yesterday. So I am coming after finishing work. Khushal Bhai said, bring the basket. Mataji showed a small basket and they went to work in the house. Then Khushal Bhai took two big baskets and went to the Mahudi with the students and climbed on the Mahudi and started singing the Dolorio Raga. So the boys who came to weave the Mahuda looked at the Mahuda and found that this is Khushal Bhai singing bhajan. Alya, everyone come, let us listen, so all the boys came. The cows were grazing under the tree and ran away. A group of Patels and Brahman boys gathered. Khushal Bhai said to the boys, Alya brother, have you come to suck all the money? So the boy named Haridatta said, are you sucking your forehead? You climb up and sing bhajans, and the cows below eat Mahuda. This Mahudi is bitter, Mahudas are not bitter. So Haridatta Bhatt took one Mahuda and put it in his mouth and it felt very delicious. Hey Khushal Bhai, sugarcane juice is nothing compared to the sweetness of this Mahuda. Hearing this, all the boys rushed to sip the Mahuda. Just then the boys saw Giviba coming, so Khushal Bhai got down from Mahuda. Mataji asked, brother, have you woven many Mahudas? In the north, Haridatta said, mother, what is that veena? His forehead. He studied a lot and became crazy. He used to sing bhajans by climbing on the Mahudi. After coming, he immediately climbed on top of the Mahudi and sang Dolario, and the cows below were eating Mahudi. He fed all the boys well. Before I came, the cows of the entire village were under the hood. We chased away and squeezed the boys who had fallen a little too much. Hearing this, Mataji got lost in thought. Alya Haribhai, this Mahudi is like bitter poison, said Giviba. Khushal Bhai said that, mother, you see that the boys' chooses are piled under the Mahuda's rug. Mataji saw that the boys' chooses were lying on the rug. Mother sipped a mouthful and found it tasted like shredded sugarcane. After seeing Khushal Bhai playing, Mataji shouted, hey Khushal Bhai, you have grown up and come on jatras after studying, but your playful habits remained. Khushal Bhai said, don't listen to all these boys. Which day is this green correct? If you fight, he fights you, thinking that he is satisfied. Ma, look in that cobweb. Ma looked in the net and saw 2 big baskets full of mahuda. He filled this basket with his opulence. Giviba picked up one basket and Kushal Bhai picked up the other basket. So Mataji said, Hey Kushal Bhai, I have never brought a basket full of these mahudi fruits. Where did all these mahudas come from today? While talking, mother and son came home and had a bath and dinner. Jamaat of Khaki Baba. On Vaishakh Sud 3, Akshay Tritiya, of Samvat 1856, Khaki Baba's Jamaat descended at Torda at dawn. There were about 50 to 60 Babas. There was a Mahant, an official, a Kothari, a priest, 2 storekeepers, some other elephant handlers, some horsemen, some camels. This survey Jamaat pitched a tent in the shade of a reed near Bhuleshwar Mahadev in front of the Budheli river in Tordani. Mehantaji sat in it. In a small tent, the brass idols of Ram, Lakshmana and Sita and Lalji etc. were decorated and dressed up in vaghas and performed aarti. The village sang with conch music. Seeing this appearance, the people of the village were attracted and went to see. Boys joke. Mehantaji distributed sugar prasadi. Another sadhu did tilakchapa, armed with sticks, and went around the hill villages and Torda villages to gather the patidars of the village. Majority of the voters have gone into hiding. He came to the center of the village along with others. Then the patidars said, Without our leader, nothing can be done by us. Thus the afternoon passed. Seeing this appearance, Kushal Bhai started getting worried that Sadhu is still hungry. This state of guests. Kushal Bhai himself went to the middle of the village and said to the villagers, Saints, walk here on the stone place to the temple. That Lord will give wisdom to all. A monk said, Brahmadev sach kehta hai. Then everyone went to Radhakrishna's temple. Kushal Bhai bade in the temple, took the idol of Lord Vishnu from the temple, put it in a pot, put a basil leaf, anointed it with water and gave it to all the monks. Along with HN in a Panchpatra, he sent Charnamrit to the Mahant as well. Mahant gave it Charnamrit. This Charnamrit did not affect the villagers, but after a few minutes it affected the monks and they started saying, Jarmadas, are you hungry? Started talking to each other. At that time, Mahant said to a monk that Jis Brahmadeva ne Charnamrit diya vahan chalo. When Mahant and all the monks came to the temple and asked, Kushal Bhai had gone home. So all the monks went to Kushal Bhai's house. Kushal Bhai greeted him and seated him. The monks sat with the Mahant. The Mahant said that apne Charnamrit diya Jesus sab sadhuon ko trupti hui. So pakwan khaya ho aisa मालूम होता है. You are divine man. Ramji ki please have a discussion. Kushal Bhai said, you are a great man. I am a Brahman. आप जिस राम जी का ध्यान बाहर से करते हैं, ऐसा ध्यान अंतर में कीजिए. Then Kushal Bhatt preached that a human being who restrains the senses and remembers the senses with the mind is called a fool and a miser. There is no benefit in taking such a leap. While sitting for meditation, one should try to absorb the mind in the form determined by one's Ishtadev. His name is meditation. Saying this, Kushal Bhai looked at the Mahant. As soon as the pulse of the Mahant was pulled and he was sent to Ayodhya for Samadhi. Mahant again visited the place of Ramjan in Ayodhya and visited Hanumangadi. There he bathed in the Saryu river and came back immediately. On awakening, Mahant's body was found drenched in water. The Mahant praised Khushal Bhai with a Gadgadkant that aap bade siddha purusha hai hem yahi vidya shikhaye. Khushal Bhai said, take another birth. लो लंगर की जमात में मिलना. एज FIR घनश्याम प्रभु के दर्शन से तुम्हारा उद्धार होगा. Mahant heard this promise, believed it, immediately asked for farewell and took blessings. Mahant ji left with the congregation by gifting to big cows and a horse to the temple of Radhakrishna in Torda. Ramanuji broke the monk's pot. On Jait Sud 8 of Samvat 18p6, a monk of the Ramanuj sect named Gopaldas spent Chaturmas at the temple of Radhakrishna in Torda. Every Brahman and Sonia began to be invited to eat there. Wherever you go to eat, leave your throne of worship and go to Sadhu Maharaj in the temple. Seeing this miracle, people's reverence towards Gopaldas increased. Motiram Thacker's turn came. That's why we said it. Sadhu Maharaj Thakurji came to eat. After offering, they ate. Then when Maharaj was leaving to go to the temple, Jiviba said, your Thakurji is gone, take it. Sadhu Maharaj said, our Thakurji Sandhya Artikun chale aayenge. The same was happening from every house. Therefore, everyone's respect for Maharaj was increasing and Maharaj's service was also getting better in the village, but Khushal Bhai was not as usual there and Thakurji did not go back to the temple. That monk became a ghost. He used to bring everyone back from there carrying Thakurji with the throne, but here the wall of ghost Govindaji Patel stopped there. And from there the monk went back to Maharaj and said to the monk that Khushal Bhai is not going home because of me. The monk again ordered the ghost to go and fetch Thakurji. So the ghost went back and returned from Govindaji Patel's house as before, and told the whole story to Sadhu Maharaj. So Sadhu Maharaj himself went to Motiram Thakar's house to take the throne in anger. So Thakurji's throne stuck to the Patla and Thakurji's throne, Patla, Prithvi and Sadhu Maharaj stuck together like beads strung on a thread. The next day Sadhu Maharaj was given the note by Khushal Bhai there. So the people of the village gathered to see the wonder, miracle. Mutually they started asking Sadhu Maharaj, but Sadhu Maharaj was speechless. In Bari, Khushal Bhai used to teach students. Kuber Soni went there and said, Khushal Bhai, look at your house. The house is made of people. Khushal Bhai said that, Alya Kuber, what is it? Kuber talked about everything from the area. Khushal Bhai said that Thakurji has eaten a lot and if Sadhu Maharaj is angry with Sadhu Maharaj, then Sadhu Maharaj must be celebrating. Kuber Soni said, Tamobhar ahe dhotu khara. Then Khushal Bhai came into the house and said to Thakurji, if you don't want to come, let Sadhuram go. Then Sadhuram's hands were released and they went to the temple. The same night they left Thakurji and ran away to another village. Thus Khushal Bhatt broke the vessel of Sadhu. Samadhi to Brahman boys. Once Khushal Bhai sent 7-8-year-old Brahman boys to Kailash for Samadhi. There the children had a darshan of Chaturbhuja Shankar Bhagwan. The children said, O Mahadevji, a big black snake is coiled around your neck, don't they bite you? Then Lord Shankar laughed and said, Leo, I will not bite you too. After removing 4 snakes from his neck with his 4 hands, he hugged the 4 children and said, you go home. When they woke up from Samadhi, seeing the big black snake around the neck of the 4 children, people started running away in fear. Then Khushal Bhai drove the boys along with the snake to Torda village. Then Bhagole took him to Bhuleshwar Mahadev's house and put him on his feet Immediately the 4 snakes came out from the neck of the boys and wrapped themselves around Mahadevji's neck and disappeared in the night and went to Shankar in Kailash.